do want to get to something because it wouldn't be fair to the men and women out there if I didn't ask the question. So we have female here. We haven't had a ton of them, really discussing this topic on the show. Also a wife and also a mother of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this isn't really kind of in your neuroscience field.
It is actually.
Okay, so.
But we need another hour. I'm going to have to come back to pick that apart, but I can.
Let's just real quickly kind of talk to, both the impact that porn addiction on a male side has on his spouse. And then maybe for the, for the female, because there's about 20% women that listen to the show, for the females that are out there and are in a relationship, in a marriage, are there signs that they need to look for in their husband? He may be addicted to porn.
Yep. And I work with a lot of women, and I'm involved in a lot of the women's communities in this space. And the reason I say it's definitely neuroscientific is that we now know that it's called betrayal trauma. And so women who are in the position that they find out, even if it's only a pornography habit, when they find out there is betrayal and it's trauma, like talking about trauma, it is perceived by the nervous system and the brain as trauma. And I can see that. And that's a different pattern. And so recovery for wives or spouses or partners is really, really important. And so I work with lots of them, but it also goes back to what I talked about as the system. And so many people don't know that the dynamic that is created in the give and take of partnership can add to the addiction, or it can help to break it. And there really is a whole other, I'm trained in this completely other way of recovery for women because it's not the same as it is for an addict. So, or anybody with a bad habit. So, and there's lots of pieces. That's why I said we could definitely do just a whole nother episode on what our partners, what should they do for themselves? What can they do to encourage recovery in their partner? But as far as signs go, I would encourage any person who is in this position or doesn't even know that they're in this position yet, is that to follow their intuition. And I find that the partners don't want to create conflict. The number one thing that happens is conflict about real things, at least, is it's the avoidance of conflict. And I'm here to tell you, if you avoid it, it will only get worse. And that is neuroscience. And the way neuroplasticity works is it's your best friend if you're doing the right stuff. It's your worst enemy if you're doing the wrong stuff. And and I talked to a young man yesterday who's like, my girlfriend's totally fine with this, but I really think it's a problem. And I'm like, your girlfriend might be fine with it now because you've been together for 6 months and you're 21. And I said this to him, she won't be fine with this in 20 years. If she's your wife and you have 2 kids and you are sucked in triply hard after 10, 15, 20 more years of this. I'm like, and she probably isn't even okay with it right now. She's just saying that because your relationship is new. So I would encourage you to encourage her not to be okay with it and to get on board with, so it's different too when we're talking about young people versus older people. I work with women who are 65 and been dealing with this stuff for 40 years. And basically at that point, it's really hard to back this thing out because it escalates so much. So if you know this is going on, it's not moral. People make it a moral issue. It's a neuroscientific issue that if you love your partner and you want them to be well and you want them to reach their full potential, the best way that you can help them is by helping them to conquer this so that they can be in a better spot.
Yeah, don't throw the guilt, shame, like all of the, all the emotional stuff at them. Like sit down and have the hard, difficult conversation.